My name's Saul Dario Torres. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I'm here to share my food experiences. I'm 46 years old. I primarily have lived here in El Paso, primarily in the lower valley. Grew up in the Isleta area, and then I did live, the UTEP area at the family apartments for a while, and then primarily on the far east side, the Mountwood area. And then I've also lived in San Antonio for about 2 years, in New Orleans for about 8 months. And growing up, I spent a lot of time in a ranch in Durango, Sauce Abajo, Durango, little rural ranch out there. And I guess in a nutshell, that's where I've lived. My family is, my both parents thankfully are still with me, Humberto and Vestina Torres. My mom is from Juarez, Ciudad Chihuahua, Juarez. She did spend time in Alaska. My grandfather, actually, for whatever reason, they just got up and moved and they went to Anchorage. My father, he's from the ranch in Mexico, Salsa Abajo, Durango. And then I was also very thankful that growing up, my great grandmother, Bombach, she was part of my life, and my great grandmother from the ranch in Salsa Abajo, Grandma Chiquita is how I knew her. She was a big part of my life as well. And my grandmothers, my grandma Lola La Riva, my mother's mom, and my grandma Luz, my father's mother. All right, to share some food memories with you all, I'm going to start with Menudo. And for whatever Menudo was like a really big childhood through adulthood, I don't know what you want to call it, recurrence, event in my life. I'll start with my grandma Luz. I used to spend the night there regularly. My uncles, there were 7 boys. And so Saturday evening, she would start Menudo. And as a young kid, one, the smell. She was doing a lot of prep work, I guess, cleaning the tripe, cutting it, preparing it. It would start cooking overnight, and it had this odor, an aroma, if you will. You either love it or you hate it, I always loved it. And again, something about Menudo was magical because they started it, say, Saturday evening. You'd go to bed, and as a kid, you're like, why is that still on? Like, why are they cooking? We're asleep. Who's watching it? There's fire. So for that reason, just from a start, Menudo was already like, I don't know, a mystery. It was something different. And then in the morning, I guess the magic happened, and that's what you look forward to. And you had your bowl, and even preparing it, you can say it's kind of simple. It's just hominy, the tripe, but then the preparation, the oregano. My grandmother always had, fresh oregano. So like you'd crush it, you put it in your hands and you'd crush it. So that was neat. You added more chile. Chile was a big part of our life as well. The hotter, the better. So you would add that to it, and then you would add lime. I never did the onion, but I did do the lime. And then just when all that came together, that whole experience, it was like, wow, to this day. We're very spoiled, my mother is a great cook. My grandmother's a great cook. So I don't want to say you took it for granted, but, I guess some of the things that pop up every now and then, my mother would do something creative, if you will, the Mexican hot dog. One day we come home and my mom rolls hot dogs into flautas. And you're like, what is that? That's not food. And you don't want to be rude, but you're a kid, and she's like, it's a Mexican hot dog. So I have that memory. It stood out for a while. We don't eat Mexican hot dogs anymore, but I do have that memory, and the flavor with the ketchup and the mustard and dipping your flauta, made of a hot dog into that. Something else that jumps out at me is, in here, growing up with my grandmother, making the chile. Well, I guess that's played a key role in my life too. Chile, homemade chile, molido, if you will. That also was magical. My grandma had, I guess it's a molcajete, and she didn't make a little bowl. It was like this big Tupperware bowl, and like you waited for it to be ready. And when it was ready, man, I guess tostadas are a big part of my life too. That you'd buy, in Juarez. Would I'd go to Juarez with my grandmother and my uncle, and again, that too, if you will, was like wow. As a kid, this might be, I guess, my first time on this planet because I was really blown away by like Menudo, or when we go to the tortilleria in Juarez. And you have this big machine. It's loud, It's hot when you walk in there, and it's just you see him making the, I don't know what you call it, the masa, and then you see the tortillas rolling out. And she'd also buy the tostadas, which were the best. And going back to the chile, when it was done, you'd get to eat. Like, here you go, it's ready. Have at it, and you'd get to have all the tostadas you wanted. And then the measure for my family of, was it good, is if it was hot. And I remember my ears hurting. I remember like sweating, I remember thinking like, wow, I'm going to pass out. But at the same time, you're like, this is like heaven. This is the best. Now, my father, again, being from a ranch, again, I guess you take it not for granted, but, it was natural. We were always brought up, that, everything is living. He would say, hey, you see this rock? This rock is living. It's the lowest state of living, And then I would spend all my summers, in Durango, in the ranch, which, depending on what year, it's not even on the map. And they're adobe homes, and the way they make their living there are no groceries. I started going there probably in 1974. My first memories of going there, probably 1977. And I remember like, hey, the house down the street got a refrigerator, or so again, it was the food was you actually worked the fields and you ate what you labored, I guess, for it. But again, a happy relationship with food. It was like you worked, you can eat it. You worked, you're hungry, eat it. Food, to me, again, I enjoy food. I love it. To feel, full, if you will, is like a great feeling. Panza llena, corazón contento, full stomach, happy heart. So, and I hope that's what food means for everybody. I mean, it's, and again, being brought up, we were brought up to respect the food, to be very thankful for the food. For example, that little prayer again, even like, hey, we don't even deserve this. And you're thanking, if you want to call him the creator, God, and, we don't even deserve this, but thank you, and I think the prayer is spot on. You're not even saying thank you for this ribeye steak or whatever. You're saying thank you for this bread, our daily bread, which is tied to the Our Father as well. So to me, again, I love food. It's a great experience. I'm very thankful when I get to eat. I enjoy the food. I enjoy the flavors. I hope so do others.